welcome to Pitch BrandTalk. I have with me today Mr. Rakesh Malhotra. He's the founder of Livguard. Hello, Mr. Rakesh.
Hi, Simran.
I just want to first start off with the year gone by. We're right at the end of the calendar year, December. I want to know how has the year been for Livguard? And you've got home solutions, solar solutions, e-mobility, and automotive. So how has the year gone by for you?
Thank you for having me. And no, the year has been good. We have our financial year from March to March, April to March. So far, these 3 quarters look good. We are on a significant growth track. We, as a company, we've been since inception, we have been growing for the last 10 years at about 35 odd percent CAGR, and we are still at about the 30% growth rate for the year, and looks good. All segments are firing well, especially the solar and the e-mobility segments are growing very rapidly for us.
Now, let's start with solar. There's a perception that if we install solar, it is very expensive. But on a long term basis, it does work out to be very favorable when it comes to cost. So, is there a difficulty I'm talking about for when you go to for people to install for the installation of solar? Is it still there or has that become better?
So, look, I think the entire solar awareness piece in the consumer mind is still at a level where there is more consumer awareness needed in terms of what is the right application, what is the right system, what kind of services to expect, and so on. However, the government's push in this direction, especially with the PM Surya Ghar Yojana, is really driving, kickstarting the market for residential rooftop solar in a big way. We are seeing in the residential rooftop segment, growth rates of the market are in the vicinity of around 45-50%, and that I think is from a market growth standpoint quite good. The affordability is today at a all-time high, I would say, because with the subsidies under the government scheme, it is almost a no-brainer for a residential consumer with a rooftop to get a solar system installed, because the payback times have now shrunk to almost like 3 years. So
Okay.
you put in a solar system under the PM scheme, and you can get your entire investment which you have made after the subsidy back in 3 years' time. So it is now becoming really, really mainstream and actually very, very attractive for consumers to buy. Even without the scheme, it had reached about 6 years of payback time. Now it's under 3 years. And so, therefore, from an economic standpoint, it is already very, very attractive for consumers to install solar systems on the rooftop. But what we need to be seeing as as a roadblock of some sort, or a speed breaker, I wouldn't call it a roadblock, a speed breaker of some sort, is that even today, despite the fact that there are thousands of system integrators who are providing these rooftop solutions to consumers, still there is very little standardization and adherence to standards in terms of the overall installation. So you can get the right panel, you can maybe even get the right inverter, but if the installation is not done at the right angle, if the mounting systems and the balance of the plant, the cables, the distribution boards are not proper, you will get a suboptimal generation and a unreliable performance. So from Livguard, we have embarked on solving this particular problem for a consumer, because today the consumer is, he's not an expert. And the residential consumer is not a solar expert, and he's unable to make out the difference between the right product, the right solution, and where he can get the right service for the life
Very
of the
true.
product, right? So that's a gap in the market, and Livguard is very clearly focused on providing a absolute worry-free single point solution where all you need to do is call a number or visit a website, and then from there, with an expert assistance, is taken over. And the whole journey, right, from understanding the load consumption to understanding the rooftop and what should be installed and how it should be installed, to actually carrying out the installations and then providing service throughout the warranty period, which extends to 10, 12 years, is what the consumer is looking for. And frankly, in the bid to reduce prices and sell on prices, these all these system integrators who are spread all over the place, which are not really brands but are assemblers in some sense, they have actually they cut corners to improve margins and reduce prices. So the consumer at the end of the day is the one who suffers, because थोड़ी सी भी तेज हवा आई, the wind blowing at a fast rate, and you have a problem with the mounting structure, or the mounting structures get rusted, or the cable is not the right size, the termination and the installation is not proper. Even with good quality solar panels and inverters, you can end up having a bad quality performance, right? So that, I think, is a problem which hasn't been solved by the manufacturers of panels or inverters so far. So Livguard is taking upon itself that we will take care of everything in one place and provide a full solution end to end to a consumer, where the consumer essentially has to only pay, Livguard or its franchisee for a solution, and then from that point on, it is taken care of throughout the life of the product. So that is where our strategy is, and I think this is going to be a very important game changer in this market, given the fact that there is such a large interest and adoption of solar rooftops. This will make it easier on the consumer and make the purchase far more reliable from a consumer standpoint.
You mentioned that the consumer awareness is very low, right? What I want to know is, particularly when it comes to solar and even when it comes to e-mobility solutions, what are the challenges when you're communicating to the consumer? Because you just took us through the consumer life journey, when you were just speaking. So, what are the key challenges in putting out the communication?
So, see, look, it's not just putting out the communication, right? I mean, when you put out this communication, you need to be able to do all of this for millions
Correct.
of consumers in 2000 cities across the country. So, that ability to deliver is what the brands have not invested in, and hence are unable to say what I'm saying to you. So, from Livguard's standpoint, we are making deep investments to be able to make sure that we are able to actually deliver what I just said to you. And therefore, once that baseline is there, we have then the job of making sure that every consumer who's potentially looking at a solar solution has heard of this option.
I also just want to take it a little further. When we talk solar and when we talk e-mobility, everybody's talking go green. So, do you, when you're pitching or something, or how has this helped build your brand salience? Because particularly when you look at the younger generation, quite a lot of people will look at that. Are you a green company? And does that help build up your brand salience?
Sure. No, so I think because so you said, I'll go back to your earlier question first, and then I'll answer this one.
Yeah.
You talked about consumer awareness being low. So actually, the awareness about solar and e-mobility is actually high,
Okay.
but consumers do not know the details of how to go about doing it. So the customer's buying journey is broken. It's not seamless yet. It's not like
Correct.
any other consumer durable. I mean, you wanted to buy a large, television, which may even cost 2 lakh rupees. All you need to do is go to Amazon, look at the specs, figure out at the local retail store, and you can get everything seamless, right? Digitally, physically, in terms of purchase,
Correct.
in terms of service, in terms of financing, everything is seamless. And the consumers have gotten educated on what to look for, right? In solar and electric mobility, today the problem is that while the interest levels are high, awareness at the concept level is very high and interest
Very
is very high. But when it comes to how to do it and what is to be looked at, that piece of detail is not yet full education on that has not yet happened for consumers.
true.
And brands are not doing it because they are not quite ready to service the customer in that way. And therefore, brands are also shying away from it. And everything is all about, some third party putting it all together and hoping it works. Now, that is what we need to solve for, and which is what Livguard is looking at. Now, coming to your next question, so as Livguard, we are right in the middle of energy transition and sustainability as a brand. So we traverse, home energy solutions, home power backups. We traverse solar rooftops, and then we have electric mobility solutions and lithium
Correct.
batteries. All of this is part of our portfolio. And these are the mega trends in energy transition and sustainability from an energy standpoint. Which where Livguard is. So yes, you're right that the younger consumers are very very socially and environmentally aware of this need. But I'm actually finding even the older consumers who are well educated are are rapidly wanting to do their bit as individual consumers in terms of sustainability. So clearly, in the next 3, 4, 5 years, brands will have no choice but to do the environmentally correct thing if they have to stay relevant. For Livguard, the good thing is that we are doing all the right businesses, and therefore, our the mere fact that we do that business in a proper manner is making us relevant and sustainable as a brand. So a lot of our business is actually rapidly moving from the conventional automotive side to EV side. So 5 years ago, EV was nothing in our portfolio, and conventional automotive was whatever 40%, 35, 40% of our business. Today, electric mobility is 35% of our business. Conventional automotive is only 15% of our business. So that whole shift is happening because of our business model being focused on electric mobility and solar. 5 years ago, our solar business was less than 10% of our company's turnover. And, conventional lead acid batteries and home power backup systems were about 50% of our business. And today, it's about 30% conventional, 20% solar. 3 years out, it will be the other way. Will be 40% solar and probably 20% home power backup, conventional business. So we are essentially as depending on our business model itself, we are driving the whole company and the brand into sustainability being the major part of our business.
You mentioned that a lot of companies, many companies are not yet, ready to educate the consumer, but Livguard has taken the first step. Now you've also, tied up with Akshay Kumar. So can you tell us how are you looking to leverage him and what are the initiatives that you plan to do with him? Because he automatically gets a lot of, he gets the masses onto you, right?
Correct. Okay. No, so it's not a new association, Simran. It is we just finished 7 years of association and partnership with Akshay Kumar as a brand, and his relevance is coming from two very important alignments between the brand's focus and his own personality. One is, of course, that Livguard is an energy solutions business, and therefore energy unlimited is our brand promise. And if there is one person who's a celebrity with unlimited energy, we would call this guy out as that person. So there is a natural alignment between the brand and the brand ambassador. But other than that, he's also one person who's known to, support and promote causes. So he has made multiple films in the last 4 or 5 years which have picked up relevant social causes.
True.
Sustainable energy generation and usage and sustainable transportation are also social and environmental causes that he's quite passionate about. And we are using him both in terms of his mass appeal, but also in terms of his is being a thought leader in terms of supporting causes which are relevant to the society. I think we are going to use him in both those directions. Mass appeal is obvious. The other part is something that we are using in various actions that we take with him.
Now, taking this ahead, you're also having a partnership with IPL. Can you talk about that?
Well, I mean, we
It
have partnership with certain teams,
teams, yeah.
right? Not IPL, but certain
I meant
teams.
the IPL teams. That's what I meant.
Right,
I'm sorry.
right, right. So yes, I mean, I think IPL is the single most watched, event in this country, both on television screens as well as digital screens. So it provides a platform to us for creating that reach to the consumers at large. And, like many other brands, we are trying to most creatively use the IPL platform in ways that we can reach consumers more effectively with our message. And, I don't think there's any escaping IPL if you want to reach the masses in India.
That's true, but how is the, if you can just explain a little bit further, how has this association helped you? Maybe in terms of
So,
building your brand or brand
so,
salience?
so till last year, we were doing largely, media usage during IPL. This year onwards,
Okay.
we are working with some relationships on the team side. We can't speak about it right now because
Okay.
we will be able to only unveil that when the time when the contracts permit us to. But we will be using them in the relevant context of our operations, which is in sustainable energy. So that's where we will be using the relationships in terms of promoting and cementing that positioning in the consumer's mind.
Sure. Now, I also wanted to ask you, is that the inverter business, if you could tell us a little bit more, like how is that going?
So the inverter business is for us going very well. We have been, comparatively a late entrant. We
Entrant.
only, yeah, we only entered this industry about 6 years ago as Livguard. And actually, in a short span of 6 years, we have managed to climb all the way up to the third spot in this industry and gained about 15% share of the market, which hasn't happened in the past by any brand in such a short time. And largely, it is on the strength of three pillars. I mean, the fact that we make the most reliable products.
Okay.
There is a very extensive service network we invested in. We today provide service in more than 4,000 locations across the country. Close to 8,000 consumers every day are serviced by us across and in their homes. So it's a massive service infrastructure that we have put in place across the country. And the third piece for us is the investment that we are making in innovation and brand. So, Livguard has come to be known as the most innovative uh, company in that business. We are constantly upgrading the product and their functionality as we go, and we are also at the same time investing extensively on the brand. And as a result of which, the growth has been quite phenomenal. The industry as a whole is growing, but not necessarily at a very fast pace. It is going through a transition from bigger cities to smaller cities and even further down the road in tehsils and other places. But overall, the industry has seen some growth over the last few years. Not necessarily very fast growth, but high single digit growths. growth CAGR. But for us, the growth has been in the range of around 35% year on year because we are constantly gaining market share.
You kind of preempted my next question. I wanted to know, like, where is this growth coming from? Is it coming from tier two, tier three, or is it coming from metros? So, how is it overall for you? You're seeing more sales where?
Yeah, and so see, overall, the industry itself has moved from tier one to tier two, three, four, five towns.
Okay,
So it's going deeper into the hinterland. That's where the industry growth is also coming from. In fact, some of the big cities are actually on a size of industry on a degrowth a little bit.
okay,
And that's compensated for a faster growth in the smaller towns. And more than compensated for a faster growth in smaller towns. And for us as well, the growth is obviously more coming from the smaller cities. But since we were a new brand and relatively underrepresented in the market for the last few years, we are seeing growth even in the bigger cities because we are gaining market share right now.
if I ask you, just tell me three things which you did right to gain market share, because the first two names which come into your mind in this business is Vguard and Luminous. So just three things which you think did right that you're now the third player in the market and you're adding to your market share.
Well, I must correct you. The top two players are one of them is correct, the other one is not even in the top five. Uh,
Okay.
so I would not like to name the companies, but definitely Luminous is amongst the top players. The other one is not even in the top six, even I would say.
Okay.
But maybe it's for you as a brand, it might have been recalled because of various other categories that they are involved in. But having said that, for us, I think I already answered that question. For us, the three pillars of success
Okay.
were coming from product quality and innovation, very deep and very well entrenched service network, and then consistent investment on channel development and brand development. Over the last 6 years, every year we have been amongst the top share of voice uh, in the industry for inverters and inverter batteries.
Got it. Looking ahead, what can we expect from Livguard?
More innovation, consistent and dependable product delivery and service, and aspirational move towards more sustainable solutions for home power backup, rooftop solar, and electric mobility. These are the three things that we will continue.
In percentages, if you could just tell me
You mean what would have what impact?
a percentage. In percentage, what is the growth that you're
Okay.
anticipating?
No, I think we want to continue to maintain our. No, now it's a considerably large company. We are about $500 million in revenue. Uh, so from here, we will be happy if we are maintaining a growth rate in the range of 25 to 30% for the next 5 years. That's the number that we are aspiring to do because as these companies become bigger, it's harder to grow at 40% a year or 35% a year. But even 30% growth rate, in my view, is a very, very, very fast growth rate in a market where a lot of dynamic changes are happening. Many new players are entering, different kind of technologies are being brought in. So we want to stay at the forefront of that change and continue to maintain our market share growth in each of the segments that we operate.
Thank you so much for your time. It was lovely talking to you.
You're welcome, Simran. Thank you for having me.